Okay, hopefully this all records, and so this is a mini lesson on finding and developing independent writing projects, because that is something that will help you in every class and outside of school when you just are wanting to write about something, and it'll help you become a better writer. But what we're going to focus on here is this will help you as you choose what you're going to write about. It's going to help you think about your audience and genre and questions. And also, I think it's going to ask, what do I care about? What do I want to write about? Okay, technical difficulties there, but hey, I think we're back on track here. Okay, what do you want to write about? What kind of book or text do I want to create? Okay, so how do we think about topics we care about? Okay, well, there are a lot of ways to do that. And today we're just going to talk about one, because I can do too much at once as a person. Okay, and so what today we're going to talk about, sometimes writers think about important things that are important to them. So it could be one object. It could be a kind of object. So it could be, for me, it could be a specific book or as an object like my mother's ring. So I might put my mother's ring. But it could also be something like swimming or road trips. Or I'm going to say, I'd have to really think hard about a favorite book. I'm coming back to that. It could be my dad's hat. So do you see how it can be all sorts of things, and then I could think, okay, I'm going to write about road trips today, but I'm not going to write about all my road trips. I'm going to think about the time I went on a 28-day road trip with my kids, and then I'm not going to write about that whole trip because that would be a really long story. I might write about the time we got lost in Utah. All right, so that could be one thing I write about, okay, that has to do with this thing that I like, road trips. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of the kinds of writing projects that writers come up with. So I'm going to show you some stories in Funny Girl, okay? And I'm just going to show you the kinds of writing that these writers do. So I bet many of you know who Raina Telgemeier is. She writes Ghost and Sisters. She writes a story using graphic novels, in a graphic novel genre. Alison DeCamp, another writer, writes in letters. A whole story of back and forth letters. Oh, she puts a little pictures in. And Ursula Vernon puts in text and pictures in her story. Here's another story told in notes and letters. There's another graphic novel. There's so many ways. And then there's another text and pictures. But I want to give you even more examples that might strike your fancy. Okay, so this is No pictures, just a fantasy book. So Robin McKinley tells lots of stories about dragons and fantasy. But you might like to write true stories about things you like. Like maybe you're really interested in sharks, like this writer, Kathy East Dabowski. She writes all about sharks in her book. So she's got photographs and facts about sharks. This writer writes really, Fran Lee, she really loves stars and constellations. So she writes all about the stars and the stories. So she weaves together stories and facts about the constellations. So lots of different ways to come up with a story. I'm going to give you one more. Okay, so see this how-to? So some people write books. Eileen Dosakow writes books telling people how to do things. Okay? So there's so many different genres. So you have to consider, okay, what kinds of things do I like? So today, in your notebook, you can use your online notebook, or you can use your hard notebook, your composition book that you have, and you are going to spend time writing. So if you need steps, here we go. 1, make a list of things that are important to you. 2, there we go. Make a list of things that are important to you. 2, pick one of those things and write long. That means what's really important is that writers write a lot. So volume. And see if you can write for 5 minutes before you take a break, and then 6 minutes before you take a break. All right? So you're going to get a lot of writing done today. And just to remind you that you pick one of those things and write long, but remember one little thing to write long about. Go for it. And I can't wait to see what you write.